Hello, you guys, and welcome back to the Identity Crisis podcast. I can now finally take the name of the podcast in my own podcast because I only just figured the name out. So this is great. We now have a name. So yeah, welcome. And I'm happy that you guys are hanging out with me today. So with all this New Year energy in the air, I thought I would dedicate this episode to talk a little bit about the vibes that come with it and resolutions and New Year's and the whole occasion as a, entity. And also take some time to reflect, I guess, on patterns and resolutions and things that I've learned maybe and hot takes that I have. And, we are also so close to the New Year. And maybe if you're watching this, it is the very first week of the New Year or whatever. But I can safely say no matter how bad I try planning a New Year's Eve sort of thing, it's just never happened. No matter how bad I try. I mean, tell me you don't agree. Like, there's just no way to plan it. Like, it's always an ad hoc, day of sort of situation, which just kills me every time because no matter how hard I try, and I'm like, I'm going to have the best New Year's ever. It just is like the day before on the 31st, I'm like, what do I do? Like, where do I go? What's going on? And this is the energy this year too. I have no idea what's going on. Anyways, I'm also so over doing anything for it as a whole. I mean, who wants to wake up on the first hungover? I can't believe that was a thing that I would be okay with doing. It's actually quite insane to think about because now I'd rather have a cute little night to myself, with a couple people, maybe a couple glasses of wine, sleep and wake up fresh and do a big brunch on the first. That is the move. Anyways, moving on. The first thing I kind of want to talk about is how New Year's resolutions are a scam. I have now come to believe that they are a hoax. And that is purely because we see so much pressure around this time of year. I mean, for the past 2 months even, I've been logging on to the internet or TikTok or whatever it is, even YouTube for that matter. And there are just people yelling at me being like, it's 2023 in 2 months is over. You have to get your shit together. You have to do everything all at once. And it's just insane. And everyone's just on this crazy race to get stuff together before moving on to the new year. And while that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that. I just feel like that comes with so much pressure as well. And it almost sets you up for failure because there's just so much ambition and not enough of action that matches up to it, if that makes sense. And yeah, which is why I just feel honestly, I used to be that type of person. I mean, I am a type A planner to a T. I love my GCal. I love writing things down. I love all of that. And I love knowing exactly what I'm doing. But for the past couple of years of my life, I mean, I for every year, every new year, I'm always these are my resolutions. These are my goals. This is what I'm doing, whatever. And I just feel like they're never sustainable. I look back at them at the end of the year and I'm like, I really haven't done any of this. Life went in a completely different path. And that's completely okay and normal. But I feel like for the longest time, I had been beating myself up, being like, I'm not doing this correctly, no matter how many smart goals you try to put for yourself or whatever. It's just not sustainable, I feel. And I also think that like I said, with life going on so many different paths, it's really good to be intentional about where you want to take the new upcoming year. Life has a different plan in store, just like I was saying, where every year I have this whole vision and then stuff just goes on another way, which is okay because you do need to surrender to what life has in store for you. You cannot be in control of everything. And this is something that I'm working on every single day. Trust me, being a control freak, I need to relax. And I'm sure many other people do too. But I saw a quote on that note the other day about how you can have anything, but you can't have everything. And that really got me thinking because I really am that person. I will wake up one day and I'm like, I want to learn surfing. I want to live on an island forever and drink coconut water straight from the coconut and just be completely disconnected. But then I wake up another morning and I'm like, could totally live in New York and just be there my whole life and be a city girl. And then I wake up and I'm like, I want to be in Switzerland in the mountains. It's just insane. And I'm sure that we all go through this just because everything just feels so accessible and attainable at this point. And that's a really good thing. But I just feel like we also need to understand that you have one life and you really can't do it all. And it's just so much pressure to pick a path that will fulfill all of that and all of your, it's completely okay to be multidimensional is what I'm trying to say and want a bunch of different things. But I feel like there's just this pressure that you have to do this one thing because you literally, come on, let's be real. Like I cannot be in the mountains and live in the ocean at the same time, just hypothetically, but you know what I mean? And that's the same thing that applies for New Year's resolutions as well. I feel like when I would be making mine, it would just be all over the place. And I just think about it and be like, okay, how can I achieve all of this in just this 1 year? And this is what I'm saying, that while it's good to be intentional about the path that you're going in, that said path, it's like difficult to commit to one, at least for me, for someone who just loves it all and wants to experience it all. Sometimes I feel like I wish I was really that person that was just like, engineering is for me. Like, this is it. Like, I just love it. And I'm just like, for example, and I could just sit there and be an engineer and just commit to that. But no, I literally wake up with like 50 million interests every single day. So that's a very annoying factor, but that makes the New Year's resolutions harder and adds more pressure again to commit to the one thing. And trust me, again, I am a sucker for planning and buying new stationery that has a new year on it, just for the sake of it, just to get into the vibes, festive New Year vibes. But it's just, I've just come to the conclusion with myself that it's time to let New Year's resolutions go. You know what I mean? The second thing that I wanted to talk about on this note is that while I'm saying that New Year's resolutions are dead, I just feel like at the same time, just playing a little devil's advocate here, it is a really good time, in my opinion, to start afresh, and almost similar to like that spring cleaning, you know what I mean? Where you can cut off things that aren't serving you, people that aren't serving you, habits that aren't serving you. I find that on the 1st of January, like I mentioned, if I'm not waking up hungover, I'm waking up buzzing. I'm like, it's the 1st of Jan, like I feel like a newborn baby. And maybe that's me being a bit youthful and, again, romanticizing it a little bit. But I feel like that's a good spark to have. I feel like you should wake up on the first day of a very new year feeling that sort of excitement and that fresh start, which I absolutely love doing. So like I said, I will not be going all out this new year because I want to wake up, be intentional about my first day of the new year and get my thing going, But I feel like, yeah, it's a really good time to sort of do a little purge, a little digital cleanse for yourself. It is okay to just sit there and just sort of romanticize about just things that you want to let go of, things that you want to attract more of, and just call in and make room for more abundance in your new year. So in that sense, I do love a good 1st of Jan moment. So I feel like this is the perfect moment to sort of talk about an epiphany that I had that really, once it hit me, I feel like it changed the brain chemistry in there, because I was like, hold on, this makes a lot of sense. We all just revenge procrastinate in general, are just so used to our habits and ways and old ways, that we just get so comfortable. And that is me and was me even before at an even worse level. But I feel like once I sort of understood this concept, it really changed the brain chemistry in there, and it just clicks. And when it clicks for you, which I hope it does, maybe it has already, but I'm here to remind you, I just feel like, again, with the whole resolutions and whatnot, we need to think less and do more. I saw this Kurzgesagt video, love, by the way, I hope that's how you say it, Kurzgesagt. And it was a video about habits. And again, they do reference atomic habits and stuff like that. which if you've read, great book. And if not, that video, just as good, honestly, it explains things perfectly. It talks about how our brains are like a jungle and our like pathways are like the trees. And the more that you sort of indulge in your habits, your easier pathways, those get deeper and deeper. So that means that those trees get cut down more and more, which means that you have a little trail, and that trail then becomes a path, and it then becomes like a walkway, and that walkway then becomes a highway. And what I'm trying to refer to here is that's the same way that your brain works, that the more you do those activities, the easier it is. And that's why your brain just keeps defaulting back to like scrolling on TikTok for hours, watching Netflix for hours, and so on. And then on top of that, I feel like a whole other level to it is when type A planners like myself sit there and manifest and vision board and like do all these things, but then don't actually do it. Our brains literally at that point wire so hard into that. In a way, it's a good form of visualization and manifestation. If you know how you do that, you are supposed to visualize and manifest and really feel the emotion behind doing those activities or achieving those milestones, whatever you're trying to do. But I feel like people don't talk about enough that you actually need to like move your ass and like actually do it. You need to like think less and do more. And I feel like this really clicked with me because this is what I'm talking about with the pathways, that when I would be manifesting or journaling or vision boarding or whatever it is, I would literally convince my brain that activity is done. Like I've already done it. When in reality, it does not exist in my reality at all. Like I have not completed the action at all. And when that moment clicked in my head, I was like, this is crazy, because I've been sitting here writing down all these things that I want to accomplish, want to do, and but haven't taken a single actionable step in that direction. So I was really complacent in that. I'm not going to lie. No matter how much I really believed that it was going for me, it was not going for me, because I was just like so complacent in this activity, right? That I was like, this has happened for me. So anyways, that video was a great reference and a great visualization of literally what the neural pathways in your brain look like when you keep engaging in these activities and you just don't really do anything about it. So time to make those new pathways, And this is where the whole think less, do more comes in as well, where I've just started to like switch off my brain a little bit to like do things. I know it sounds a bit weird, but it really helps me. I just sort of stop thinking about the long list of actions, sub-actions, let's call them, it takes to actually accomplish that main thing. So for example, if I need to go to the gym, I will not think about, oh, it's rush hour when I'm going, probably shouldn't go. Oh, I probably have to like a dinner after that, so I need to like shower. I just literally like tell my brain, you're off right now, shut up. I just get in the car and drive, and next thing you know, I'm at the gym. You know what I mean? Same thing with the other stuff, like with the podcast too. This is just my personal experience. Like I was putting this off for the longest time, like literally the longest time. One day I woke up 2 hours before and I was like, I don't even care what's going to happen right now, but I'm just going to record it. So again, I'm not saying that I'm out here moving mountains, but I'm just saying that it's like the little incremental things that you do. And it did genuinely make me feel so much better. I now feel so much better when I approach things that I want to do this way, especially as someone who is super anxious and overthinks a lot and all of that and wants to plan and be type A and be in control of everything. Like honestly, it's as easy as just being like, brain, just shut the fuck up right now. Like, for 5 seconds, literally relax. Hopefully that helps. I feel like it sounds super easy. And when I would hear self-help or when I would hear or read, similar podcasts discussing similar topics, I feel like it would just like over my head. And I'd be like, yes, I understand. I'm being so productive right now just by listening to it. When in reality, you just need it to click. You just need it to click. So whenever it does, you're set. After discussing all of this, what are we going to do about it, right? Like, how are we going to fix this whole New Year energy pandemic that's going on about new year, new me, and doing this and doing that. I just feel like planning your year around the quarters of the year is just a solution to all of this. Like, I want to do more of a quarter plan this coming year personally, instead of just looking at my whole year and being like, I need to do X, Y, and Z. It's just not sustainable again. And I just feel like this way, I mean, people in businesses and stuff, they were really onto something, because the quarter plan, it makes sense. You got 3 months, you batch it up. You know, I was always so opposed to it. I hated doing it. I don't know why, but I now see its appeal. And if you don't already, I feel like you should, because it is so much more approachable to sit there and look at the first 3 months of the year and be like, all right, this is what I want to accomplish between now and March, like January, March, January, March, you know, and then April, May, June, and just batch it up like that. I feel like planning your travel is easier, planning your goals and your fitness goals and your health goals and your personal life goals. Everything just falls into place a little easier, I feel. And not to mention, going back to the whole vision boarding and manifesting and all of that, it's so much easier to visualize what your next 3 months are going to look like rather than your next 12, you know? So I just feel like I want to give myself this sort of quarter plan method this time around and just see how that works, which I will tune in and let you guys know how that's going for me. I also feel like a majority of the prep actually begins in December, although it is obviously Christmas and the holiday season, and also everyone's birthday seems to be, including myself. I just feel like the majority of the planning and sort of whatever you want to achieve begins in December, you know, like the whole summer body is built in the winter kind of effect, but also for resolutions where you can't just expect to hop into January and be like, I'm going to start now. This is something I would do too. And then it would be April and I'd be like, right. Happy New Year. I'd be like, oh, but now I've kind of like already started getting into that mindset a little bit, and it's a little less overwhelming. It's not as much pressure because it's still not the new year. So you feel like you're a little ahead of it, you know, you're like, okay, getting it together. So that time when January comes around, you've already instilled a sprinkle of those things that you want to start incorporating in your new year. All in all, I just feel like there's always going to be two types of people in the world. There's going to be those people that are like, oh, it's just another day. It's just another day. It's just another year. You just wake up. It's the same shit, whatever. And then there are people like myself and probably you watching this where you do try to be a little intentional about how you want to move in this next year around the sun of life. I feel like as much as I was shitting on it being a whole construct and stuff, which I still feel like it is, just because of, again, the pressure that just comes with it. I can't. But I just feel like when you do these steps to break it up and make it a little bit easier for yourself, maybe even like have some people that you want to hold yourself accountable with throughout this whole journey, I just feel like it makes it a little less intimidating, a little more wholesome, and a little bit more achievable. So hopefully everyone has a good new year if you're watching this. Again, not too sure when this is coming out, but Happy New Year regardless. I hope this year brings a lot of abundance and a lot of love and light and happiness into everyone's lives. And we should be grateful for every single day, including the new year that is slowly upon us. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna leave now, but until next time. Also, make sure to follow me on Spotify and Apple and all the streaming platforms, because your girl will be there. And also obviously subscribe to my YouTube, because we're gonna be doing these videos as well. And my Instagram, my personal, and the podcast, where you see more of this content coming your way. And yeah, just follow along and be a part of this, be a part of the gang, I guess. Thanks.